So, Andre, right? Andre?
Yes.
Awesome. So working on private pilot, you want to tell me how all of that's been going? How long's your training been? What kind of led you to this point? What's your end goal? Is it just, hey, let's go fly around for fun?
Well, it's been kind of a rodeo, man. I've been working on it now for just over 2 years. Well, long story short, I did 10 hours right away. Flight instructor said, "Hey, you got to get your medical so you can solo, blah, blah, blah." I said, "Okay, no problem." I went to go get my medical and that did not go so well. So it literally took me 18 months just to get my medical. So now I've been back flying again for, let's see here. I want to say 8 months, 8, 9 months, somewhere around there. But time consuming, because I'm in the car business, so I run 2 dealerships. So it's a lot of time. And plus I live in Washington with the weather and everything. So I basically wanted to do it because it's fun. I always wanted
Yeah.
to do it, and then finally got the means to do it. And I was like, all right, I'm just gonna get it done. So now that within the last 9 months, I've done 54 hours in the last 9 months. So which isn't a whole hell of a lot, but it's a lot for me,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
I mean, yeah, when you
So
put it into the
yeah.
context, right? Um, me with thousands of hours, I hear 54. I was like, that's a heavy week. But
Exactly.
for somebody who's just starting out, 54 hours, like those first 100 hours, every single one of them feels like an accomplishment, and you can own that, right? You can have that. There's
Correct.
nothing wrong with enjoying the fact that you got some time under your belt. And as for the medical thing, I mean, I'm right there with you. I lost mine, and it took me 2 years and $25,000 to get it back.
Ouch. Yeah.
So it's yeah, the FAA is out there trying to keep the skies safe, but we definitely say that some of the steps make it a little rough
Oh,
sometimes.
correct. Correct. Oh, trust me, I know. Trust
Yeah.
me, I know. But it's okay now though, so we're good.
Yeah, no, no. I mean, I'm not gonna, it's your medical, and that's what I tell a lot of my students. Like, I'm not a doctor, I'm not an AME. Like, you want to talk to me about your medical concerns, I guess, but like, I don't want to know. Like, go talk to your doctor about that stuff because I'm not the like I'm not the final authority to say on whether or not you can fly or you should fly. I'm just the final authority to say on whether or not you've got the skills to fly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Um, So awesome. Doing this in a Warrior 2. And when it comes to the Warrior 2, I know a lot of them get upgraded, a lot of them don't get upgraded. So I just want to get a handle on what are we looking at on the avionics package in this.
So I do have a Garmin 430 in there. That's pretty much the only thing that has been upgraded in there. Oh, I got the 355 transponder in there also. ADSB in and out. What else is in there? That is it for now until
Okay.
after I get my private pilot. So yeah.
So is this your airplane?
Yes.
Awesome, awesome. I mean, it's nice that you know the equipment that's actually in your airplane. I mean, what's the end goal on like panel? Are you gonna upgrade this GI 275s across the board, engine monitor?
So I decided not to do the GI 275. Well, I do have a GI 275 EIS, so the engine monitor is going in there. But I went with the Avionics. So I have 2 of those going in. I also have the is it a Trio or the Trig? STC group. I can't remember the name of the autopilot. That just showed up at my house the other day. So that's going in. I got a bunch of stuff that's going in there. So but yeah, I'm changing the radio, the Benix King that I have in there now is coming out, and I'm putting in the Garmin 275, I think it is. So yeah, I got a bunch of stuff going in. I leased my plane back to the flight school.
Okay.
It's it, it pays for all my flight training for me, so I thought it was the smartest thing to do. So it worked out, and it has been working out. So all that time I couldn't fly, it's literally been paying me my money back to put the new stuff in it. So yeah,
Yeah. No,
I'm
I
happy
mean,
with it.
leasebacks can be a great way to help supplement the ownership of an aircraft. I
Correct.
know there's a flight school near me that the flight school doesn't own any airplanes. Like they might own one.
Hmm.
All
Wow.
they do is leasebacks for like I
Leasebacks.
think
Yep.
they have like one or two 172s, and that's kind of how they started. And then they would train pilots. They'd go buy a plane, and the flight school would be like, "Hey, you want to like lease that back to us?
Easy way for
Airplanes are
them to make money.
expensive, man." And I
Easy way
mean,
for them to make money.
and that's it. They're up to like they got a lot of airplanes. I think they got like 10 Cirruses now, and they're all leasebacks.
Wow.
Yeah, like
Oh my God. Yeah.
they have worked their way up, and I mean I talked to him about my airplane, but like, your airplane's like 1 of 40, man. Like, what are we gonna do in the what's the lease back that thing? But that's awesome that you've been able to absorb some of the costs of, aviation. Because believe me,
Yeah.
it's expensive. The only thing I really wanna, just kinda point out on your paperwork before we dig into anything, not sure if this was a mistake, but, um, a DPE is gonna catch this real quick. It's
Okay.
the you gave me the 4 flight, um, nav log that had weight and balance information that didn't match your other weight and balance documentation.
Oh,
So,
really?
here we got a basic empty weight of 1,300 in your 4 flight stuff. Then you give me a weight and balance load summary, and we've got a basic empty weight of 1488. And then the POH, if I remember correctly, the POH
Should
was
have been
showing like
14.
1488.2. But then, I mean, I know this is just a sample form. But then we've also got this document right here that shows weight and balance changes showing, what was it, 1460.9. So none of these say superseded on them. So I
Okay.
don't know which one's accurate. But
Huh.
and again, if you've got like a laminated, because for my airplane, all the POH stuff, the stuff that's in the POH, all says superseded on it, so that there's
Okay.
never any confusion, right? But I have a laminated sheet that is my actual weight and balance data.
Yes, we do have a laminated sheet, and I didn't even think about double checking that. And I thought I updated it in my N4 flight, but I probably didn't because I was using the 4 flight on the computer, and for some reason, when I use it on my iPad, they don't talk to each other sometimes. I don't
Yeah.
know why. So that is my fault because I did do it off the computer, and the one that I sent you is the separate one that I did in the app itself is the correct one. 'Cause that's
Okay.
the one that is on a laminated card. So I will make sure I fix that problem on the
Yeah,
next
and then
time.
again, it's not the end of the world. You just don't want that to be like the one thing to kind of tip it over. As
Yeah,
long
we
as
don't want
you're
that.
aware, I would say that like the navlog form that you gave me would probably be like that final authority because it has all the information,
Okay,
associated with everything that you're going to be using during your cross country, right? It's got your taxi
correct.
diagrams, it's got the weather and your flight plan, and it seems like a, fairly decent flight plan. I'm gonna grab this and shove it into, aircraft or shove it into Sky Vector
Sky
later.
Vector.
Yep. But let's get into, that was my one big thing that I wanted to touch on before we dig into anything else. Uh, so every check ride, right, you got 3 possible outcomes: are satisfactory, unsatisfactory, and incomplete. Satisfactory doesn't necessarily mean, you don't momentarily fall outside the standards. If you do fall outside the standards, you apply a prompt appropriate correction to get yourself back within the standards. Perfection is not the expectation. That's what DPEs are, kind of trained for. They're trained to look like, are you going to be a safe pilot? Are you going to get yourself hurt? Are you going to hurt the airplane? Are you going to violate some regulations? Are you going to fly into Oshkosh and land on a taxiway? Right. As long as I don't think that you're going to do something like that, right? We're
Yeah,
usually pretty solid, right? As long as your skills and knowledge are where they need to be. Mistakes, have to look stuff up, are completely normal and they're part of aviation. Even me as an Airbus pilot, I'm still looking up stuff every day going, wait, can we do that? Let's go look it up, right?
yeah,
But I know where to find the information in a reasonable amount of time, so that I'm not sitting here asking ATC for a hold, seeing if I can land at this airport. You know,
correct.
I'm able to navigate the appropriate documentation uh, for the question, for the scenario at hand, right? Then we've got unsatisfactory. Unsatisfactory is consistently outside the standards. You constantly blowing past your touchdown point and having to go around. We got 14 go arounds on a calm wind day, all because you're blowing past your touchdown point. Sure, you're going around, but like if we're at 14 go arounds, we're starting to
Yeah,
look
exactly.
at the fuel issue. Um, then we've got, when it comes to the knowledge portion, having to look up every answer. Making stuff up is usually a really big one. Just kind of guessing and hoping that they're going to believe your confidence as opposed to the actual answer is a real big one. And then incomplete is one that a lot of private pilots don't really understand going into it. They think the examiner's the only one that can call incomplete for a check ride. But if at any point during the check ride, you ate some Taco Bell on your way in and you're like, oh, that's not sitting well, you know, bring it up, say something, no need to force yourself into flying. And I know check rides can take a little while to get scheduled. But don't let that wait, don't let that time frame be the reason that you go up in weather that would exceed your personal minimums, right?
Yeah, correct.
So as long as you're not going to damage the aircraft, damage somebody else's property, or violate any regulations, as long as the examiner doesn't have to take control of the aircraft to prevent any of that from happening, you're going to be fine. I know when I did stage checks for UND, I told the student, pretty much every time, like, you've passed already. You got to prove to me that you failed, right?
Correct. Correct.
um, so when it comes to a check ride, who's going to be acting as pilot in command?
That would be me.
All right. Now, what are you going to need to bring to your check ride for you to act as pilot in command?
I'm gonna have to bring my government issued photo ID, so driver's license, passport, things of that nature. My logbook with all the endorsements for sign offs from my flight instructor. Um, I'm also gonna need my medical certificate and my student pilot license.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, since you do own, a couple car, you own those two car dealerships, it brings up some pretty big questions about your privileges and limitations as a private pilot. So let's say, you want to go check out a car, two states over, right? It's a Roush Mustang signed by Chip Foose. I don't know. Can you do this? Can you fly, let's say, on the clock to go check out this car?
On the clock, I would probably say, well, no, actually, I can't get paid to go check out a car for the dealership. No, if I'm already on the clock, because at the time being, I'm being paid to do it. Well, on the clock. Yes, I can go out there and go look at it. Yes, I can
Yeah,
go look at it.
because
'Cause-
Yeah, because sure, it's business related, right? You would
correct,
think like, okay, well, this is kind of commercial, but it's business related. Well, they're not paying you as a pilot. Like, you could have driven out there. You just
correct.
happen to be flying, right?
Yeah,
The phrase
I
that
was overthinking that one for a minute. I was like, wait a minute. I'm not getting paid to go do it. I'm going out there. It's whether I'm driving my car or riding my bike. What's the
yeah,
difference? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I got you.
that's exactly it, right? As long as the phrase that the FAA uses is incidental to the business.
Incidental to the business. Okay.
Yeah. So like a private pilot can make money while operating an aircraft as long as they're not being paid directly for the fact that they're flying.
Okay. That
Does
makes
that
more
make
sense.
sense?
That makes a lot of
Right.
sense. I don't know why I was overthinking that.
Now let's say that you got a buddy that he bought a car in another state. Can he
Mhm.
pay you for a flight out to go pick that thing up?
No, he cannot.
Okay. Is there any way that you could kind of, help him? Is there any money that he could offer? Is there any way you could get at least a couple dollars out of him for this flight? Avgas, at least near me, is $6 a gallon.
No, yeah, it's about that over here. It's actually $7 over here. It's crazy. But let me send that voicemail. It actually no, I cannot. Unless I have a common reason to go out there to go look at said car or take him to go look at the car. If I had a reason to go, then yes, we can split it our pro rata share to share for the expenses for the flight there. If I had a reason to go,
Awesome, right? That's the big deal, and the way that the FAA looks at it is, was it your idea to go initially,
correct.
right? Now, let's say that you're flying to like Oshkosh. Is it legal for you to like put on Facebook saying like, "Hey, I'm flying to Oshkosh. Does anyone want to come with and split gas?"
No, I cannot do that. Then I'm asking for I'm asking for someone to go with me and help me pay for it. So actually, to pay me to go, actually, pretty much.
Yeah,
So
it's
I
called
cannot do
holding
that.
out.
Holding out, yes.
Yep. You'll learn all about that when you go through commercial, but that's one thing that I see a lot in these Facebook pages. Right around Sun and Fun and Oshkosh, like, anybody want to come with and split gas? Especially as gas prices keep going up and up and up. And it's like, hey, you might want to be careful with that.
It just
Mm.
keeps getting more and more expensive.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. People like I keep commenting on Rotex on Instagram saying like, hey man, can we get an STC for my airplane so I can get that 5 gallons an hour that you guys get? Oh God. Pretty solid understanding of your privileges and limitations. Now, what do you need to do if you wanted to carry passengers?
If I want to carry passengers, first of all, I have to get my private pilot's license first and foremost. Second of all, I have to do 3 touchdowns and landings within 30 days before I can carry any passengers at all. And if I carry them at nighttime, I need to do it at a full. They have to come to a full stop at night.
Okay, now is it 30 days?
90 days. Sorry.
Yeah, 90
3
days.
takeoffs, landings in the preceding 90 days. Sorry,
90 days.
90
Now, if
days.
your personal minimums are 30 days, go for it. Because, like, I mean, if I haven't flown in 3 months, I mean, maybe 3 landings
Uh,
isn't enough
it's not
for me
enough.
to.
It's not enough. No.
Now, for let's say for today's flight, it's a VFR flight, nothing too fancy going on. I need to check the weather just to make sure, see what it actually is all about. But how do you know that this airplane is legal to go fly today?
Well, it's illegal to go fly today in a VFR flight. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank right now. Well, I had to make sure the inspections are done. So I got to make sure my annual inspection is done. Since it is leased out to the flight school, my 100-hour inspection needs to be done also. My altimeter.
Fine.
So, so to make sure that my flight is legal for a VFR flight today, I need to make sure all my inspections are done. My airworthy certificate. All my inspections are complete.
Well, we got an acronym that helps us memorize these, right?
8 tomato flames. What am I
Well,
thinking?
so eight tomato flames
91205.
is about the equipment, right? We can dig into that into a second, but like let's talk about just like documentation. What documentation really needs to be in this airplane?
Oh, Jesus Christ. All right. So airworthiness certificate, my registration, operator's handbook, weight and balance, and airworthiness certificate registration. I'm not going overseas, so I don't need my radio. I don't need the radio card for myself or the airplane. I need my operator's handbook and my weight and balance. There I go.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, some people would like to say even include like your supplements. A lot of supplements get addendums to the back of the POH, so they're kind of the same thing. But just to kind of check that box, like there's
Yep.
equipment in the airplane that's not original,
Correct.
so the supplements associated with those are need to be in there as well.
So, yep. Like for the Garmin.
Yep, for the engine monitor, for the transponder, and for the GPS, all of those are going to have their own
Correct.
supplement associated with them.
Yep.
All right,
I
so
don't know
that
why I
air
was drawing a blank there.
No, it's that's why we do these things, right? You might be studying this stuff, but this would be the first time you're like verbalizing these answers,
Correct.
right? And that's where a lot of students get those nerves as they like fumble on one of the documents, and then like the nerves just build and build and build.
Yep.
But if that happens on your check ride, right? Just take a breath. Ask for a break. Like, hey, you mind if I run to the bathroom real quick, get a drink of water? Don't let the examiner ramrod you through the check ride. I know some examiners are out there doing 6 check rides a day, so they're like, I got a schedule. Let's go. Let's go.
Yep.
Nah, you paid for it. It's your check ride, right?
You're right. You're right.
So, airworthiness certificate. That's that first real big one. Does this thing ever expire?
No, it does not expire.
Okay. So, what do I need to do to ensure that this thing stays valid? Because the airworthiness certificate, in all intents and purposes, pretty much is saying this airplane is airworthy and legal to fly.
Well, you need to make sure you have all your inspections are done, like your annual inspection. You need to make sure all ADs are taken care of, airworthiness directives. And and all the equipment is checked on the time frames that they need to be checked, whether to keep it airworthy.
Awesome, awesome. So let's say that since your airplane's being leased to that flight school, we've got one other inspection that for it to legally operate in the situation that it's in. Let's say the 100-hour inspection was done 120 hours ago, but the annual was done last month. The tack time on the annual was 25:57, and the current tack time is 26:37. Can we go fly
So,
this thing as part of the flight school?
well, the annual does supersede the 100-hour inspection, but you said the hours were 120 hours difference between the two after the annual was done.
So no, the since the last 100-hour, it's been
Okay.
120 hours.
Okay.
But since the annual, it's been 80.
Yeah. So you are, yes, you're still airworthy.
Awesome, awesome, right? Because as you said, the annual can supersede the 100-hour, but the 100-hour cannot supersede the annual. Now, let's say you take this airplane back from the flight school.
Mhm.
Like, hey, I'm flying this airplane a whole lot more than I want. I'm tired of your students beating up my airplane. Um, so I
Yeah.
want my airplane back. Um, is there any other time in which you would need a 100-hour inspection on this airplane?
Not if I got it back. The only other time I would, no, actually I wouldn't, because I wouldn't let anybody else have my plane and have an instructor do it if I take it back. So no, I don't have to do a 100-hour anymore after that.
No, but there's only one other instance in which 100 hours required, right? We got flight school providing the airplane and the instructor is kind of a package deal, and then there's that one other time that 100 hours required.
If I'm using it for okay, so if I'm using it to carry passengers for compensation, if I'm
That's
using it
it.
like it's correct.
Yep. Think aerial tours, skydiving, stuff like that.
Yep.
All right. So ADs, what is an AD?
An AD is an airworthy directive. So it's basically like a recall that's mandatory. So it can do, like, for instance, like the 172s, like we have in the flight school, they have that thing that just hooks up to the seat, and which is 100% mandatory. I hear about it all the time out there. So it's just basically a recall that the FAA states that is mandatory. You have to abide by and get and do. That's what, in layman's terms.
Yeah. Do you have any ADs on your airplane?
I do actually. Funny part is I went back to go pull that back up this morning, and for some reason I can't find my file. So I went on the DRS website, and ran out of time in it. So there is a few. I can't remember exactly what they are, but I can go look them up. I
Okay.
got here
Well, I
early this
mean,
morning to work because I wasn't supposed to be working this early, but
no, you're fine.
I
The
got
fact that you knew
sidetracked.
the fact that you knew about the DRS and all that jazz, we're square on that
Yeah,
point. A
yeah.
lot of students like, hey, they're like, well, airworthiness directives are this, and it's like, okay, well, do you have any? They're like, I don't know. The flight school takes care of those. I'm like,
Oh
okay, well,
no, that's, yeah. When I went and bought this thing, I trust me, I did a lot of research.
oh yeah. There's a
Yeah, yeah. No. My wife wanted to kill me. She didn't. Well, I ain't gonna go on.
I don't think there's ever been a spouse in the I don't know. A lot of times the spouse is like, are you sure? Are you sure we need an
Oh
airplane?
yeah. Oh no, you didn't find out the hard way. What do you mean? She found out through the mail that I bought an airplane. She was like, "What is this? Is something you want to tell me about?" I
Yeah.
said, "Oh yeah, about that."
It was like, see what happened. What? So no shit. There I was.
Oh my god. To
This is
this
just a
day, we still
deal,
laugh
you
about
just
it.
can't pass up on these deals, making moves.
Oh yeah, trust me. That's what I had to say. That's my exact words.
All right. Now, so we've gone through all those inspections. We've gone through most of the documentation. Now, let's say we go out and we're doing the pre-flight on this aircraft, and we notice we topped up the fuel. Fuel, we know we put full tanks in this thing. We turn the power on. Fuel gauge is reading 0. Is this airplane legal to go fly?
No, it is not legal to go fly because you do need a fuel gauge to fly with.
Yeah. It's pretty straightforward. Now, let's say the turn coordinator is dead. You turn the power
So,
on, turn coordinator's just sitting crooked.
so your turn coordinator is not mandatory to have a turn coordinator in flight.
Okay. How do you know?
Well, I can go into my POH. We'll have that information in there. I don't have an MEL, so, or I can also look up uh 91205. That's one of them, and then the other one is 91213. And I also can check. There's one other place I can check too, and I can't remember what the name of it is. But I do know I should be able to find everything I need between those three places.
Yep. Now, 91213 is kind of that like end all document. Is that it's the regulation that like it's literally titled inoperative equipment.
Correct.
91213 tells you to go check all those other things that you previously brought up.
Yes.
91213, the first thing it says is, do you have an MEL? If not, continue on. Um, if you don't have an MEL, it asks you, is it part of 91205? If it's not part of 91205, it tells you to check your POH, your KOEL, any airworthiness directives, and your TCDS, and any supplemental type certificates associated as well.
Correct. Yes.
Right. So turn coordinators in op, we're seeing that it's just not leveling up. We leave the airplane powered up for a while, and again, turn coordinators just showing cattywampus. It's not required for me to have an operable turn coordinator, but can I just leave it sitting there being broken? Is there anything I need to do before I can go fly?
No, you would write it down, and you would write it down in a logbook or logbook. You write it down. Me personally, since this belongs to the flight school, I would just write it down, let the maintenance department know what's going on with it, and so that way they can label it in op and get it fixed.
Now, let's say that you're out somewhere else, you took it on a cross country, can you label it and disable it and mark it in op?
I cannot. Not a turret
No.
coordinator, no.
Is there any equipment that you could label in op and it be legal?
Uh,
I guess let me rephrase this. Is there any electrical components that you could diagnose, disable, and or repair on your aircraft?
no, not
There's
electrical.
there's like 2 things that you can do when it comes to electrics. Do you know where to look to see what you can do?
Yes, I can look in is it part 61, I think it is. Let's see
So
here. I
part
wanna
61 is how you get your license.
no, not
Part
part
91 is how
61.
you lose it, and part 43 is how you maintain airplanes.
43, that's the one. Okay,
Yeah.
so in part 43, it does list a few things that I can do.
Yeah, part 43 appendix A or, part 43 A appendix C, or is it C appendix A? Either way, it's the whole list of, preventative maintenance, right?
Yes.
And there's 2 things. You can diagnose and or repair landing light circuits, and you can do, like, direct swaps of avionics. Like, let's say your Bendix radio breaks down, you could pull that radio out and slot in a different Bendix radio.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
So, here, I gotta
Now,
read part.
I'm not saying that you can pull that Bendix out and swap in your Garmin radio. It's gotta be a
No.
direct one-for-one swap, right?
Okay, so I need to read that.
Yeah, and again,
Okay.
I don't need you to memorize everything that's in Appendix A, that's in Part 43, Appendix A, Part C, but knowing how to go find it, knowing that it's not in Part 61 is kind of important. Um,
Okay.
let's get into the systems associated with your aircraft. So I know we've been talking about your airplane a little bit, but can you describe your airplane to me? Almost like you're trying to sell it to me like it's a used car.
Well, it's a 1979 Piper Warrior 2, 161 horsepower, naturally aspirated. It's got a Lycoming 0320, horizontally opposed engine, fixed landing gear. Let's see here. 161 horsepower. What else has got? So 4-seat placement. Yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. It is IFR certified. Air cooled. Holds 50 gallons of fuel, 48 usable. What else has got? I think that's a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty good description of it. Now, why is there some of that fuel that's not usable? What's going on with it?
Well, at the bottom of the tanks, the lifting unit that brings the fuel into the system is up higher and not on the bottom of the tank, so it doesn't suck up any of the soot or any bad stuff that's going to be sitting at the bottom of the tank. So you can't get that fuel out, so it stays in there. It's unusable fuel completely.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Now, what kind of gas can this thing use?
100 low lead.
All
It
right.
says it can take 100 low lead and some other 100 I've never heard of before, never seen. So, but it's always uses 100 low lead.
Yeah, you can get like 100 octane from like drag strips, but I don't know how much I'd really trust that.
Yeah, no.
If you go to like Canada, sometimes you can find like the green 100 if that's what it is. But yeah, I mean, 100 low lead is, always
Hold on
it.
1 second. I'm in a meeting. So just see Fernando. Thanks. Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Now, is this thing fuel injected or carbureted?
Carbureted.
Okay. Is there any downsides to having a carbureted airplane?
Yeah, carburetor icing. It's less efficient. It's just old technology. But the biggest thing is the carburetor icing.
Okay. So how would you identify carburetor icing?
You get a lot engine roughness, really. Loss of power, engine roughness.
Okay. Now, is this going to be like a instant, like, oh crap, I just lost 500 RPM?
No, it's going to be gradual. It's if you don't notice it right off the bat, it'll just go little by little by little by little until it just gets too bad. Hopefully, you catch it before that happens. But yeah, it's not fun.
Yeah. Have you gotten carburetor icing before?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. And
Okay. So tell me about it. What happened? How'd you resolve this problem?
So first thing we did, thank God I was with the flight instructor, not by myself when this happened. We were on our way to Bremerton. Night flight actually too. So yeah, not fun. So anyways, this is our second night flight because the first one we did good, but anyways, I want to go again. So I think I want to do better landings. Anyway, so we're going up there. Next thing you know, I'm like, whoa, what is that? And I can see I'm looking at the RPMs and it's dropping and dropping and dropping. And then I feel it. And he's like, did you lean this?" He asked me, "Did I lean it out?" I said, "I haven't done anything. I put more mixture back in, and it still kept dropping." He was like, "Uh-oh, I think you got carburetor ice." And he says, "What do you do?" And then he asked me, he says, "So what do you do?" I said, "Well, first of all, I'm gonna turn on the carb heat." I turned on the carb heat, and then it really got rocky. I was like, "Whoa!" And it would just kept going. He says, "Just fly the plane and let's just see what's going on." And I had pitot heat too, so I said, "Dude, I'm turning on everything." I turned on the heat in the cabin. I turned everything on. And then we left it on, and it got better after about probably 3 minutes, maybe 4. It wasn't that long, but it wasn't fun. Just put it that way.
Yeah,
But then we
longest
came
4 minutes of
in.
your life.
Yeah, it was. And then we came in, and I was like, well, when I read the emergency procedures, when I read that, I remembered it said that I can turn it off. I looked at my instructor. I says, "I am not turning it off." And so we came in and landed, and everything stopped and everything, and just let it run for a while. And turned it off when we took off, and yeah, and it was fine after that. We just stayed down lower. So yeah, that was not fun. Not fun.
Yeah, not fun at all.
So
Now, why did it start running worse once you turned the carburetor heat on?
I think the ice must have melted or started to melt actually, and then water got in there. Engines don't like water, so that's the one thing I can think of. Especially I'm old, so I've driven cars with carburetors in them before, so I know what happens when they get extremely cold.
Yeah,
So same
yeah,
situation, similar situation, I should say.
yeah. No, and I mean that was the best way to handle it. I mean, I've never gotten carburetor ice before, but I know if I ever get it, that carburetor heat is going to stay on until I'm back on the ground. They're
Yeah,
like,
my
but
instructor
it's
said the same thing.
unfiltered. I don't
Yeah.
care. Like,
He said the same thing, smart move. I was like,
yeah,
"Okay." I think
no,
that's
ain't
only
no
like
reason to.
a few times he's ever had it. So, and he was like, "That's the first time it's happened to me in a long time." So,
Yeah, no,
yeah.
I mean, to be honest, I usually just fly fuel injected airplanes. Like it's that when I was looking for an airplane, I was like, you know what, I'm not dealing with that carburetor nonsense. Like I was looking at a couple different ones, and I was like, well, I could save 10 grand and go or go carbureted, or I could spend an extra 10 and make
Yeah.
sure it's fuel injected. I'm like, you know what, we're not. I'm not trying to hang out. I'm not trying to figure out that carburetor icing nonsense. Um, but handled it great. Handled it great. Solid. Understand the limitate or not the limitations, but now are there any hydraulics on this aircraft?
Hydraulic systems, the brakes.
All right. Now you're doing your walk around and you notice some red fluid on the ground. Where might that fluid have come from?
Could have came from the brake system. Red fluid
Mhm.
could have came from the brake system if you're over by where the brakes are, or yeah, or even I'm not on the nose wheel, so I'm just on the brake. So yeah, just so the brake fluid is red.
Yeah. I mean, now you said nose wheels. Is there anything going on the nose wheel that might have red?
Yes, the fluid inside of the hydraulic fluid inside of the nose wheel has red fluid in it also.
Yeah, it's the same stuff. It's like
Yep.
mil 56 something, or I don't know what it is,
Hmm.
but it's red. Can you let's say you notice some red fluid on the ground, right? Called maintenance over, they fixed whatever the leak was. They just handed you a bottle of brake fluid, the red fluid that's supposed to go in your brake system. Can you top this up as a private pilot?
Yes, I can.
Yeah. Do you know how?
Yes,
All right. Better than most.
real easy on the Piper.
Yeah, isn't it just right under the isn't it
It's
just right there
right
under the
underneath,
cowling?
right there. As soon as you
Yeah.
open it, it's sitting right in front of you.
Solid. All right. Now let's go look. Let's talk. What can you tell me about the electrical system that's in this aircraft?
So 14 volts. It has a 12-volt battery, 60 amp alternator that is direct driven. Yeah.
All right. So do you have an ammeter? Like you've got that engine monitor. So that engine monitor shows you if you were to look at that engine monitor and you saw your amps reading 0, would that be a problem?
We haven't installed the engine monitor yet, but I do have an
Okay.
amp meter in there now. If it's reading 0, that means the alternator is not charging my battery. So I would be concerned about it for sure. Yes.
Okay. So I just want to make sure because I know they put in all kinds of different instruments in these airplanes back in the day. So they put
Hmm.
an ammeter in a lot of them where it would show a positive and a negative. but then they would also show a load meter that would only show positive. So does yours show negative?
It does not show negative, only a positive or nothing.
Yeah, okay.
That's true. It
Because
only shows a positive. That's right. It doesn't show a negative at all.
all right.
I'm
So
just
if it
picturing it
did
in my
show
head.
0, what are you gonna do about it?
If it's showing 0,
And that
I'm
alternator
gonna
light has started to flicker.
correct. I'm gonna start turning off some of the electrical equipment that's in there. So maybe even hit the master and turn the master off and see what happens. See if I start getting power from there, because that means I'm not getting enough current from somewhere.
Well, I mean, your
So I would
alternator is
turn
the
off
only thing that
something.
provides you, power. So, is there
Correct.
any checklist or anything that you can go through that kind of
Yes, there is a
describes
checklist.
exactly?
There is a checklist. I got too many computers up. But there is a checklist. Let me find it. Oh, there it is. Yes, there is a checklist. So if I don't have any power, let's see here. Should be up 43. Emergency procedures, electrical failures 3-4. 3-4. So if you got 3-4. Alternator failure, verify failure, reduce electrical load as possible. Oh yeah, turn the alternator switch off for 1 second and turn it back on. Reduce electrical load and land as soon as practical.
Yep. All right. Now, do you know what they're trying to get you to do by turning that alternator switch off momentarily?
Yeah, to reset the system.
Yeah. So there's a little here, I'll show you on your wiring diagram in your POH real quick. So there's a little over voltage protector right here.
Yeah, here.
So if for some reason your voltage regulator right here let the voltage just get too high, you've got a secondary kind of system to protect the rest of your equipment in the airplane. Because I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, even the Garmin 430, which is a fairly old piece of equipment, is still anywhere from $5,000 to $8,000. We don't want to fry that thing.
No.
So this thing can kick your alternator off, but if you turn your master switch off, it'll reset this over voltage protector, allowing your alternator to come back on, because there could have been a momentary spike for some reason or another. Beacons very often, like since they've got a big old power supply back there in the tail of the airplane, sometimes they can cause a little over voltage spike when they start flickering on and off. So you can reset it, but again, you kind of had the right idea. You were going in the right direction. Like, hey, I'm going to start turning all my stuff off. So you kill that master. Is your engine gonna die?
No. The engine will continue to run.
Okay, so what's keeping the engine running?
The magnetos, there's 2 of them.
Okay, why do I have 2 magnetos?
A redundancy. If one fails, you got the other one to rely on.
Yeah, yeah. How would you know if you had a magneto failure?
The easiest way to find out is to switch it from switch it from both to the right hand side. And if the right hand side one is just it's the plane isn't running properly, or you lose a lot of it automatically going to drop a little bit when you just run on one anyway. But if you lose a lot of power, then that magneto's no good. Switch it back to the other one, and if that one's running good, that one's running, then you're good to go.
Well,
So
if you have a
magneto's not gonna give you
magneto,
power.
if you have a magneto failure, well, I guess let's take a step back for a second. What are the
Okay.
magnetos actually powering?
It's powering it's giving power. So as long as the propeller's rotating, it's adding powers to the engine.
Okay, so
To your, go ahead.
but the magnetos, they provide power. So we need 3 things for an engine to run, right? We need air, fuel, and spark, right?
Correct.
So which
So
one
it's
of these 3 things are the magnetos accomplishing,
the spark. The
right?
spark plugs.
So if I switch to one magneto and that magneto has failed, will the engine keep running?
No,
No, right? So it's not the engine's going to run rough, it's going to stop,
it's going to stop.
right?
Correct.
Another way to tell if your magneto has failed is if you switch one off and the engine doesn't run any worse. Well, it's because the other magneto wasn't ever running.
Oh, okay.
Does
Okay.
that make sense?
So if you go from both and you go to the right hand side one and nothing changes,
Then
that
the
means
left
the left
one
one's
has
not
failed.
working.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I didn't. The first time I've heard that.
Yeah, because let's think, like, if both of them are running, the engine's going to run well, right? If we
Correct.
switch to one of them and the other one has failed, the engine shouldn't change at all because it didn't ever start.
That's true. Okay, that makes sense.
Right?
Okay.
Now, let's take a look at your. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Let's get into some. Since we were talking about like an electrical failure, electrical emergency, let's continue down that route. So you said you're going to turn the master off if
Correct.
we're having some kind of electrical failure. Why are we turning the master off?
Because the master's going to have it's got a it holds a lot of current.
Okay. So the master is kind of, I mean, it's the whole airplane. So how long would you expect your battery to last if you'd left your master on?
Okay, so we just put a brand new battery in this thing. So, let's see here. So I guess it depend on, well, the POH says 30 minutes is what it says, but I guess it depends on how much power I actually or I'm losing. I won't know that. So 30 minutes?
Yeah, given that your once you put that engine monitor in, you'll know, um, because it'll show you how much amperage you're actually pulling from the battery.
Correct. Yes.
And let's say you put a 15 amp hour battery in that airplane, which is a fairly normal size battery, and you're pulling 5 amps out of that battery. How long would you expect that battery to last?
You said 15 amp hour, so 3
Yeah,
hours?
15 amp hour battery, and you're pulling 5 amps. So, yep, 3 hours.
Yeah, we just put a 22 amp hour battery in this thing. So yeah.
So, yeah, you got plenty of, I mean, I know from my airplane, just sitting there on the ground with the master on, none of the avionics on, I pull like 4 amps.
Oh wow. Okay.
So,
Yeah.
and I mean, I think my landing light and my beacons and stuff are on, and that's it.
Okay.
So, and I think once everything is on, avionics and everything, and then if I like key the mic, it'll go up to like 14 or 16 amps. Now, let's talk about some engine failures. Let's say you've got an engine failure right after takeoff. Let's say 200 feet.
200 feet. At 200 feet, at 200 feet after takeoff. I'm gonna land straight ahead.
Yeah.
It's no way I can't turn around. So it's straight ahead.
Yeah. There's not really a whole lot you can get done. And I mean, given that you're in a Cherokee, you're not even going to be able to get the door open because, you're over there on the left
No.
side and the door is way over there on the right side.
Correct.
I love how you have your best economy mixture range completely crossed out saying do not use.
I did not do that.
So do you know why this has been done?
No, I don't. I've been meaning to ask somebody that. I don't know
So
why.
my understanding of this is if you read this per Lycoming instructions, right? The Lycoming instructions for best economy is 50 degrees lean of peak when you go to, oh, wait, I didn't hit the share button. Sorry. So we're looking at this. If I remember this correctly, this best economy mixture, right? Mixture
Yeah.
leaned per Lycoming instructions. If I remember those instructions, that is 50 degrees lean of peak. Do you understand what that means?
No, I don't understand what that means.
Okay, so I'm going to open up some Microsoft Paint real quick just to kind of draw some pictures out. And we're going to, because there's a lot of students that struggle with leaning engines and how do we like properly, yeah, how do we properly lean an engine? So we've got our exhaust gas temperature versus here, we'll draw a little graph, right? So we've got our fuel and we've got our EGT. So the farther we go this way, the less fuel we have in the airplane. Does that make sense?
Yes, that
Or
makes
the
sense.
not less fuel we have in the airplane, but the more we have reduced the mixture.
Okay.
So the farther we go to the right, the more the mixture has been reduced. So when we reduce the mixture, the EGT goes up, right? The exhaust gas temperature goes up until it gets to a peak, and then it starts going down again because now we're getting less of a complete burn until the engine just stops,
Okay.
right?
That
So
makes
when we
sense.
lean an airplane, when it comes to like a best power, the most accepted standard of leaning an airplane, especially when it comes to Lycomings, is you are going to lean the temperature until you get to your peak. You're going to lean the fuel. You're going to reduce that fuel until you get to your hottest EGT right up here at the top. And then you're going to increase that mixture until it's 50 degrees lower than this peak. You're going to
Huh.
increase, you're going to add fuel until it is 50 degrees lower than that peak. Does that make sense?
That does make sense.
The reason we're doing this is as counterintuitive as it sounds, adding fuel to an engine will actually reduce the temperature in it.
Ha- Okay.
And what it also does is it helps prevent detonation. Because once we start really vaporizing and really spreading that fuel out really thin relative to the air, it gets really sensitive to hot spots in your cylinder and can detonate,
I get it. I get it. That
right?
is the reasoning behind it. Okay.
So there are some people out there that swear 50 degrees lean of peak is the way to go. Um, Here's the thing: the cheapest thing you can put inside of an engine is fuel,
True.
right? sure,
True.
you might be able to get this another like 1.1 gallons down per hour on this side, but when you grenade one of those cylinders is gonna set you back 3 grand.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't wanna do that.
Like,
Trust
think
me.
of
Yeah,
how
you're
much
right. It's 3
fuel you're
grand.
gonna have to save at reducing you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Spark
I
plugs.
do. I do.
Spark plugs, sure, they're $80. You can clean spark plugs. To be honest, I think I've replaced 2 of my spark plugs in the last 5 years I've owned my airplane.
Oh, yeah.
I
That's
clean them,
a no-brainer. Clean them, put
right?
them right back in.
Exactly. So it's like the 1.1 or 2 gallons an hour that you're saving running lean of peak,
Yeah, I'm not doing any of that. No.
hey, it's not worth it. Which is why when we look at your POH, whoever owned it beforehand just straight up scribbled, "Do not use."
Yeah, I saw that on there. I was like, "What?" I'll say, "I get it. I get it."
Yep. And I mean, there's people that swear by it. There's a guy that my mechanic, he works on he has a twin. I forget exactly. I think it's like a 310 or something like that. And he runs it lean a peak at like 75% power all the time. And guess what? He buys a cylinder every year.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Not
and
interested.
he's like, but I save so much on gas. I'm like, yeah, but like,
$3,000 later.
oh, for him, it's a little more than 3,000 because he's got like like weird Continental engines.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
so yeah, he's got a lot of stuff that's like, do not use best power
Mhm.
mixture per Lycoming instruction with wheel fairings installed. And all right, let's talk about an engine failure in flight. You're up at like 6,500 feet. What's your plan?
So if I'm up at 6,500 feet, first of all, I'm gonna fly the plane and I'm gonna pitch for 80 miles an hour is what I'm gonna shoot for. I'm going to find a location to where I can put the plane down at facing into the wind. And at that time, if the engine failed, I'm gonna go back to my checklist since I'm at 6,500 feet. I got plenty of time. And I'm gonna go through the checklist and find out why the engine failed. So refer back to my checklist, it would say, I do have my checklist. Is it on this computer? Oh, wrong button. So where's my checklist? It's right here. So I'm gonna check and see why I got a loss of power. So first of all, yeah, I'm gonna check. I'm gonna switch my gas tanks over to the next tank that's over. Whether I'm on the left, I'm gonna switch it to the right. I'm gonna turn my fuel pump on, make sure my mixture is full rich. Turn my carb heat on, and then check and see where I'm lost in power, and make sure my primer is in and locked. Uh,
All right.
and yep, always refer
No,
to the checklist.
yeah. Now, I mean, engine failure in flight, having a little bit of flow, right? Because we got airspeed, best place to land, great. Having a little bit of flow between going straight for the checklist is nice, right? Because it's not a complicated airplane, right? If the
Correct.
engine fails in flight, immediately pitch for that best glide, pick a spot, go for it, and then like swap your fuel tank, get your fuel pump on, mixture, carb heat. It's probably
Yeah,
going to come back, right?
correct.
As long as it wasn't like a catastrophic failure, like you sent a piston through the stratosphere. But not bad to go straight to the checklist as long as your checklist is readily available, right? I know a lot of
Yeah,
people, especially in their own airplanes, like my checklist, if I'm just gonna be honest, I have my takeoff and landing checklist that's taped to the ceiling of my airplane. But then the rest of it is like tucked in the back seat or tucked, in the pocket behind the seat. Like that's not really
yeah.
readily accessible. Now what about an engine fire during start? What's your plan for that?
During start,
Hmm.
first I'm gonna keep cranking the engine. I'm gonna close the throttle. Um, make sure my fuel pump is turned off, and hopefully it sucks the fire back in while I crank it. If not, I'm gonna jump out the plane and put it out.
Yeah. So it's a little backwards on some of them, right? So it's mixture cutoff, throttle open.
Oh, mixture cut off. Did I say that backwards?
So you said throttle closed, fuel pump off. So I think we completely missed the mixture,
Yeah,
right?
I did.
So
Mixture. Yeah. Sorry, yeah, I said that backwards. Wrong.
yep. So keep cranking, mixture straight to idle, throttle full forward, pump off, fuel selector off. It says abandon if fire continues. I don't know what your insurance is like, but I'm gonna grab a fire extinguisher if it's my airplane.
Get in the fire extinguisher. I promise you.
um, I'd love to see that argument with the insurance company, but the checklist said abandon. All right. Now what about a fire in flight?
Fire in flight. I'm gonna figure out which way the fire is. I'm going to pitch for best glide first and foremost, and try and hopefully put the fire out. Once again, I'm going to close the throttle. I'm going to shut off the mixture full back, and fuel pump off. I mean, fuel pump off, fuel tanks off also.
Right. So it's not necessarily best glide yet, right? Because we're trying to blow out the fire.
Correct. So I want to turn the plane in, turn where if the flyer's on the wing, I want to turn the plane into turn the wing into the wind to try to blow the fire out.
Right. So if I've got fire on my right wing, am I going left or right?
You're gonna go left.
Right. All right. Let's talk about spins for a moment. How
Okay.
does a spin start?
Yeah, it's an induced stall, is what it's how a spin starts.
Okay, so a spin always starts with a stall. Sure, that's correct. What about? I mean, you've done stalls,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, given that you're still here, I'm assuming you haven't spun it.
Nope, have not spun it.
So what's different? What's happening that's different between a regular old run of the mill stall and a spin?
A spin. So when a stall breaks, your wings are usually level unless you're turning a little bit. In a spin, the plane is going to start spiraling. Is what happens there. So your wings are unbalanced, of course, but
Well, they're stalled unevenly, right? They're both
stalled
stalled,
unevenly. Yes,
right? So they're both stalled, but one of them stalled more than the other. And I would be careful using the term spiral because spiral, like, there's a definition of a spiral. A spiral is where the airplane rotates
it's that
upon
way.
an external axis, right? But a spin,
Correct.
the aircraft rotates on an internal axis, right?
Yeah, correct. Yes.
So how do I get out of a spin?
Ailerons neutral. Nose full forward down, and step on the rudder in the opposite direction of the spin or the one that's fighting you.
All right. So your POH, the way it calls out, a very understood and acceptable way to recover from a spin is that PAIR acronym. Have you ever heard that? Power idle, ailerons neutral, rudder opposite the direction of turn, elevator briskly forward. PARE.
Yes, I have heard of that. Yes, I have.
Yeah.
I have.
So that's how quick these things got to come out when it comes to a spin. Because do you know where most spins happen?
Base to final.
Yeah. So do we have time to go?
No, you do not have
How do
time.
I? How do I?
You do
Right.
not have time.
So we need to be able to spout out spin recovery, just like Mary had a little lamb, right? Mary had a little lamb, fleece was white as snow. Blah, blah. To be honest, I don't
Yeah.
know Mary had a little lamb, but I do know, I do know
I
spin
ju-
recovery.
the sad part is I know it really well. It's just spitting it out is my problem. I already
Yeah,
know once I pull it, everyone's going to stomp on that rudder right away. I can do it with my eyes closed, but spitting it out is the harder part for me, which I just got to practice a little bit better.
yeah, and I mean that's not the end of the world, but I mean we want to make sure, because you got to remember this DPE probably doesn't know you,
True.
like,
That's true.
and you're trying to convince them that we're not going to die,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I got to
right?
get better fluid at it. 'Cause,
Yep.
yeah, I can do it. No problem. It's just the, spitting it out sometimes gets to me.
Yeah.
It's
So
got to be fluid.
yeah, just practice a couple more, like actually verbalizing it, talk about it with people. Like, hey man, I'm just trying to get some words out to kind of spitball this. Like, I
Yeah,
don't care if you understand. I just want a wall to talk to right now.
absolutely.
So power idle, ailerons neutral, rudder opposite direction of turn, elevator briskly forward. And then once we get out of the spin, right, then we're gonna pitch as necessary, power as necessary to recover.
Correct. Yep.
Right. How do you know which rudder to press?
The one that's the hardest one, the one that's fighting you back,
Now, why is one of these rudders going to fight you back?
because the plane is because it's you need the rudder to be able to move, and if the plane is spinning, the air is forcing that rudder to not go in that opposite direction. So you want it to go back so you can gain control of the aircraft.
Right? Awesome. So let's say we're cruising along, fat, dumb, and happy, and it starts to rain. Is the airplane made of sugar?
No,
No, so it
it
ain't
would
going to melt.
not
So
a
we're going to
problem.
push on, right?
Hmm.
All right. So
Correct.
we push on, and visibility starts to creep down a little bit. We're looking probably 8 mile visibility. Are you comfortable with 8 mile visibility?
8 miles, yes.
Yeah. All right. So we're pushing on. It's just a little bit of rain. I got places to be. I got that Chip Foose signed Roush Mustang out there that I got to go look at. Right. I
Hmm.
got places to be. I already got. We already got a down payment for this car. We got to get there. Right.
Correct. You got to make it happen.
So you look down at your iPad to like make sure we're still on track, and you look up and you're like, oh, I can't see the ground anymore. What's your plan?
I'm gonna first of all, I'm gonna turn around if I can and do a complete 180 and go back to where I was going and see if I can still see. Is my first plan of action. But if I turn around and there's nothing and I still can't see, I am going to call hopefully I'm on flight following, so I'll just talk to whoever I've been talking to the whole time, and I'm gonna let them know that I am a VFR pilot, um, and I am in IMC weather, and it would request a request a vector to the nearest VFR airport that I can land at, so I can get out of that situation, and hopefully they can get me there.
Awesome, awesome. Now, what kind of turn are we gonna do? Because that's kind of important.
A 180.
Okay, so 180 degrees, right? That's gonna be, we're gonna get facing right the opposite direction, but is there any instrument that could kinda indicate, like, how much bank are we gonna use?
I'm gonna use probably 45 degrees of bank is what I would do, or even 30, to take my time and get it around. Depending on how bad the weather is. So 45 degrees of bank would probably be my best option, just to turn it all the way around completely.
So 45 degrees of bank is pretty steep, isn't it? Like,
Yeah, it is.
that's a 1G maneuver.
Mhm.
Does that seem like a good idea if you can't see out the window?
Oh, yeah, you got a point there. I can't see
Yeah.
at that point. So, no, I would not do a 45-degree bank, probably 30 degrees at the max.
So, we've got a turn coordinator. You got a turn coordinator in your airplane, right?
Yes, I do.
Have you ever used that thing for what's called
Steep
standard rate
turns.
turns?
Yeah, standard rate turns. Yes,
Yeah, so that's what we're gonna go for, is a nice standard rate turn.
standard rate
In
turns.
your airplane, kind of a rule of thumb when it comes to, how much bank do I wanna do to like a standard rate turn, you pretty much lop the last number off of your airspeed, right? So if we're doing 110, you're gonna go to about 11 degrees of bank. If we're doing
Okay, okay,
150, you're gonna do about 15 degrees of bank,
okay. Well, nobody's ever
right?
told me that. Yeah,
I mean, that's fine. That's why we're telling you right. That's what I'm telling you right now. And again, it's not like you failed or anything like that. It's these
yeah.
rule of thumbs that instructors kind of develop over years of teaching. I'm not sure how long your instructor's been doing it, or if they just don't teach a lot of instrument or what have you. But that's little rule of thumb I give a lot of my students, because again, like, if you're a private pilot, you get stuck in IFR, you're an emergency aircraft at this point. Like, yeah, standard rate's what we're aiming for, but if all you're comfortable with is 10 degrees,
And
get you a nice little slow turnaround. There ain't nothing wrong with that.
and that's the one thing I've learned, because I had the same instructor for a very long time. I just recently started using the other instructors in the flight school, and they've taught me a lot more stuff. I mean, a lot. I mean, I guess every instructor teaches a little different. So when you hear something different, you're like, okay, I was never taught this before. And I was like,
Mhm.
which really helped out on my turns around a point and my S turns and things like that. Now I used to struggle with it. Now I have it locked down to
Yeah.
the point that that's why the flying part's done. So this
Yeah.
is the part I need to work on now, you know? So, and that's I'm the only, I give that to the two instructors I started recently flying with. So now
Yeah.
I fly with all three of them.
Oh, well, I mean, that's a great approach. I know when I was teaching a lot more I was doing a lot more actual like flight training in small airplanes. I was more than happy to fire my student and find them a new instructor if I wasn't working out.
Yeah.
If like we had, but I mean, I was also at a much bigger flight schools. There was all kinds of instructors like, hey, I suck with teaching this student landings. Like, you wanna come take a crack at this, right?
Yeah. It works. Honestly, it works.
Yeah, yeah.
They all
So, I mean,
teach
it's not
different.
always a bad thing.
No.
I know there's a lot of people who are like, well, I had to go through 5 different instructors. Like, okay, well, let's take a look internally and be like, what was going on that led to 5 different instructors? Like, what maneuver was the issue? Because like most of the time, an instructor is not just going to give you up. Like, they got money, they got bills to pay.
Correct.
Them giving up a
Correct.
student, that's money out of their pocket, right? Um, Now we've got a couple different airspeeds that we want to fly in this airplane, given certain conditions. So let's say I'm taking off of a fairly short field, right? Let's call it 1,500 feet. Your aircraft's capable of a 1,500-foot runway, ain't it?
Yes.
Now, are you comfortable with a 1,500-foot runway?
Yes.
All right. So let's say we got a 1,500-foot runway with a little bit of obstacle at the end. What airspeed am I going to aim for once I get off the ground?
I'm gonna shoot. So I'm gonna shoot for. He always told me 70 to 80 miles per hour. So I pitch for 80 miles an hour.
Okay. Is there any specific airspeed that would give us our best climb in this situation?
VX. So that would be, I think it's 63 knots.
It is 63 knots. Yes.
Yeah, 63 knots.
All right.
Which
Now
is
let's
my plane reads in miles per hour, so I try to make back and forth with that. So that's when the POH just throws me off. So I have to keep my calculator up to see 63 knots is 70 miles an hour. Okay, we're good.
Yep, yep. And I mean, once you go to like do your panel, because you say you're going to put those Avionics in, program them in knots.
Oh yeah, that's true. I can do that with those. Yeah,
Yeah,
I can do that with those.
I got a buddy that's got the AV30s in, and I mean, I like how they look. I went with the G5s, but I don't know. I keep looking at his AV30s. I'm like, those look so nice.
Yeah, we have one of the planes in the flight school has the G5s in it, and then the owner of the flight school, he has a 180. He just put the U Avionics and put one in his plane just recently. So that's
Yeah.
why when I saw him, I'm like, I'm not spending. Garmin's just too much money. It's just ridiculous. And then you
Well,
got to go to a Garmin dealer to have them put in.
yeah.
That's the part I doesn't.
Mhm.
I
Well,
mean, they're proud of their install.
yeah. Well,
It's crazy.
the thing you gain with the GI 275s is they can be your primary speedostatic instrumentation. The
Correct.
AV30s, you have to keep the old steam gauges.
Hmm.
So,
That's the only thing.
yeah. It makes for a real clean panel if you go with GI 275s all across the board.
Correct.
Most single engines, you can get away with like 3 GI 275s and then like your radio, your GPS, and your transponder. And it makes for a
And you're
really
done.
clean looking install. But that's like a $40,000 install.
Correct. Yeah. I don't want to spend that kind of cash.
No. Now let's say ATC said, "Hey, we've got some traffic we're trying to get you around. Can you give me your best rate of climb? What airspeed would you aim for?"
So best rate of climb, that is BY. So that would be, so 63 is VX, best rate of climb is, so it'd be 80 miles an hour. So I think is 70 knots. Hold on, let me double check that. Get rid of it. Sorry. Yeah, I want to say 63. It should be 63 and 70 is what my gut tells me, but let me double check to be safe. I normally have these memorized.
Yeah.
So VY. So sorry, I don't even have that written in here.
A VY for your airplane is actually going to be 79 knots.
79 knots, correct. Yes,
Yep.
79 knots, so that's 90 miles an hour.
Okay, awesome. So
Sorry
having
about
those
that.
things, yeah, no, I mean, ain't no reason to apologize. We're in training. The whole point of training is to get it wrong, and then learn, right?
Correct.
That's the whole point. Um, let's get into some aerodynamics. So when you are going to take off, right, the airplane needs a good bit of right rudder during your takeoff. Can you explain to me what's going on to require that right rudder?
So sorry. So basically, so in order for, so the right rudder on takeoff, right? Is that what you said?
Hmm.
So that's one of the four forces of four turning tendencies. So that would be your torque. So basically, let's see here. From the propeller's rotation, is forcing air on the fuselage, which is pushing the plane in the pushing the left main side of the landing gear, actually pushing the left landing gear, which is forcing the plane to yaw to the left.
Okay, so I mean, we've got torque. Torque has less to do with the actual airflow around the airplane. Torque has more to do with the fact that we're swinging a big old heavy prop out there, and for every action, there's an equal yet opposite reaction, right?
Yeah. Oh
So we've
yeah, the
all
prop
seen, we've all seen Fast and Furious when Vin Diesel's like it had so much torque it twisted the frame
twisted
off
the
the line,
chassis.
right? Um, that's what torque is, right? That's why we're getting that left turning tendency because we've got the torque that's rotating the prop to the right, so the airplane wants to rotate to the left. It's squishing that. You had that right idea, was squishing that main gear down, causing a little bit more drag on that left main gear. So you got to kick that right rudder to keep it pointing. So we took off, right? Rotated, took off. Now we're climbing out, looking something like this, right? Why do I still need the right rudder if my wheels aren't on the ground?
Okay, so you still need the right rudder after takeoff. That would be, let me try to remember which one that is. So it's not slipstream. It's got to be. Would it be?
So what are the four turning tendencies, right? We got torque. You brought up the other one,
You got
slipstream.
torque. You got gyroscopic precession. You have spiraling slipstream, and you have the other one is P factor. P
P
factor. So that's
factor.
the one I'm looking for. So that's on takeoff. Okay, okay, okay. Oh God, what am I doing? I'm crumbling in here.
You're good.
So basically, what P factor is when the propellers take it going into rotation, it's taking a big bite of the air, which causing the plane to once again yaw to the left. So you need to use right rudder to keep it straight.
Right. So the P factor, you missed like one vital component of the description, right? It's the fact that we're pitched up. And since we're pitched
Okay.
up, what happens to that descending blade?
It's taking a lot. It's bringing a lot
It's
more air. It's grabbing a lot more air and pushing the plane to the other direction.
exactly right. The descending blade is taking a bigger bite than the ascending blade.
Correct. The descending blade is taking a bigger bite of wind than the ascending blade's coming around. which
Mhm.
causes the plane to yaw. So
Right.
you need the right rudder to keep it straight.
Awesome.
Okay.
We're working our way through it. It's all good.
Oh my God. Let me
Now
write this down. Tendencies. Okay.
now talk to me about gyroscopic precession. What is that?
So gyroscopic precession, that's the one that let's see here. That one's the one that's based on Newton's third law of motion. So for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction.
So that one's torque. Torque is
That's
Newton
torque.
third's law, right? Gyroscopic precession is like the
Uh
conservation of momentum, which I don't know if that was Newton. Um, but gyroscopic precession really just says that when we apply a torque to a gyro, the resultant force is going to be felt 90 degrees in the direction of rotation.
okay, so that's the one that's like a bicycle.
Yeah, it's like a bicycle tire, right? So we're rotating the prop's rotating to the right. I pitch back, means I'm pulling on the top of the propeller, right?
Correct.
So 90 degrees in the direction of rotation, it's like I'm pulling on the right side of the propeller. So during takeoff, gyroscopic precession is actually a right turning tendency for your airplane. The reason a lot of people refer to it as a left turning tendency is because we used to teach only airplanes that flew around on or, that drove around on their
Tailwheel.
butts like this. So when they would pick up the tail during the takeoff run, that would be like pushing on the top of the propeller. So 90 degrees direction of rotation. It's like it's pushing on the right side of the propeller.
Okay.
Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. And this is the stuff you learn early on in flight training that you tend to forget about.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, that's why we do these kind of mock check rides before we go and spend what are private pilot
Correct.
check rides up to now? $1,100 or something? Got to be something ridiculous like
Yeah,
that.
the guy's kid. We had another kid just took his check ride. He just got his PPL the other day in my plane, and yeah, he was out. He was he 1,300, 1,200 something dollars? I think it was.
Was
Yeah.
that just the DPE fee
Crazy.
for a private pilot?
I'm
$1,200.
not kidding you. It was $1,200. I'm
My
like,
commercial seaplane check ride was $1,200.
that's I don't know what it is, but it's like they're all like I looked at a DPE that they just put in the flight school thing there, and I went on his website and he was $900 and something dollars, and you got to fly down to him.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. And this guy, I think is the reason why, because the DPE flew up here. I guess he's from somewhere else because I'm out here on an island. So
Mhm.
yeah, so yeah, so that's probably why he was so much money.
Yeah, no, that's oof.
Yeah,
Well, I'm trying
1,200. But he
yeah.
was started at 8:30, 9 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning. He didn't get done till 3.
Oof. Well, so
Yeah,
here's the
he
thing.
did the oral and he did both.
Here's the thing. Check rides that go well are short. Check rides that are rough, they go real long.
Yeah, yeah. I see that.
Because like if you can, if you're in there, you're confident, you understand the material, and they're not having to kind of drag you through it. Like, okay, well, but before we get into your route, let's talk about stalls. I know we talked a little bit about a stall earlier, but we are using that mainly in the context of a spin. What is a stall? How does a stall happen?
A stall is so a stall usually occurs when you've exceeded your critical angle of attack. That's when a stall
Okay.
occurs.
All right. So what does that mean? What is a critical angle of attack?
So basically you have the relative wind should be coming over the top of the wing. So when you've exceeded that and the wind is not being you're not getting enough wind over the wing itself, you're losing the ability to keep the plane in the air. So so your chord line is too high, which
So the
so
chord
you lose
line's
your
too high in relative to the wind, right?
in relative to the wind. Yes.
Awesome. So if I look like this, can I stall? It's
Yes, you
upside
can.
down. All
Yes,
right.
you can.
Now, your airplane has a published stall speed, correct? If I always stay above that stall speed, am I safe from stalling?
No, you can still stall. You can still stall
Okay,
above that speed.
so what are some things that could increase my stall speed?
Weight will
All
increase your
right.
stall speed.
Well, here's the thing. With your airplane, the published stall speed is at max gross. So
Correct.
we can't increase that anymore, right? At least
Correct.
should.
No, you should not. No.
Okay.
So yeah, you can stall in a bank. You can stall
So if
Yeah.
I cranked over at about 60 degrees of bank, how much would that increase my stall speed?
So 60 degrees would be your stall speed will be increased by 60 degrees. I think it's 40%.
Yeah, about 40%.
Yep,
So, awesome. The only other thing that could impact your stall speed is going to be center of gravity placement, right?
correct.
So, what is center of gravity?
A center of gravity is where, like, if you hold the plane up on from a string, that's where if you set it up in the where the center of gravity is, the plane will sit straight. Like this
All
plane
right.
will just stay flat.
So, why is center of gravity important?
So that way you can make sure so you don't want to be have too much weight in let's say too much weight in the nose of a plane ahead of your center of gravity, because if that's the case, you're going to have a hard time trying to lift off, and your descents are going to be rapidly fast. So you want the center of gravity to be pretty. You want your weight to be distributed pretty well, so you can maneuver in speeds and things of that nature.
All right. So, we're going to go over center of gravity. I've got a pretty cool tool. It's Bold Method. Bold Method's a pretty cool website. I don't know if you've seen them. They make a lot of really cool articles for specifically for training. 98% of it's free. Um, Bold Method were really popular. This is their fun little CG tool. Right. So why is CG important? Obviously, what gets a lot of people is they see the numbers on the chart of like CG placement, but they have
Hmm.
nothing to really compare that to. Right? This is the actual accurate center of gravity envelope for a Cessna 172. This is where the forward center of gravity limit is. This is where
Okay,
the rearward center of gravity limit is in a 172. Those numbers that are in your chart, like CG 64, or what was the CG placement that you calculated?
I think it was 64.8.
Okay,
I
yeah, so
think is what it said.
64.8. 64.8 should be 64.8 inches from the data. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Right. So this tool shows us like how does center of gravity impact our
Uh,
airplane. So let's say center of gravity is pushed way to the back, all the way to the back. It's aft limit. It's still in front of our center of lift, because I know we talk about center of gravity in the context of if we were to pick up the airplane from this point, the aircraft would balance. But here's the thing.
okay.
Small airplanes, we don't have the ability to just change where we're going to pick up the airplane from. We always have to pick up the airplane from its center of lift. So this is actually where the airplane is getting picked up from, is from its center of lift, where the wing is picking up from. And we could see center of lift is not over top of center of gravity, even at its far aft limit.
Okay. Okay.
The reason they do this is it makes it so that you can add a little bit of stability with like a teeter-totter action with the tail. Because as you could tell, if I move my center of gravity forward, the tail
Yeah.
now has
Comes
to work a
down.
little harder because we've increased the length of this lever from the center of lift.
Okay.
But since the tail is generating more downforce now, we've effectively increased the total like aerodynamic weight of the airplane, requiring a higher angle of attack. So I know you've probably heard like, hey, center of gravity placement. If I place it really far forward, I end up with a more stable airplane, right? I end up with a more stable airplane because the tail has a greater arm to work with. Because sure, the center of lift is where the airplane picks up from. The center of gravity is where all the control forces are felt from. Does that make sense?
Okay. That does make sense.
So I've
So,
got
okay.
this big old arm now where this tail can kick the rudder and move the elevator so that I can choose where the nose of this airplane is going to go with a lot of authority because I have this huge arm to work with.
Okay.
Now, if I move my CG back, it's still, as I said, in front of my center of lift. But now, since I have this shorter lever on this side, my tail doesn't have to work as hard, right? So I've decreased the total aerodynamic weight of the aircraft, requiring a lower angle of attack, meaning less tail downforce, less total drag, less thrust required for the same speed if I was to put my CG way here at the front. Next time you go fly your airplane, like I would say, like put your bag in the tail as a in the baggage
Okay.
compartment as opposed to in the back seat. Have your instructor scoot their seat all the way back and see again, verify that these actions will leave the airplane in, its center of gravity limits. But see if you can get an extra knot or two out of the airplane because again, at the small airplane kind of range, we're not going to see a whole lot of changes, but you might get 1 or 2 knots.
So put my bags in the back in the luggage compartment instead of in the back seat and have okay, I'm gonna try that. I'm
Yeah,
definitely gonna
you
try that.
I know in my airplane, when I scoop my seat, because I fly, when I go to take off, I fly a little closer to the controls so I get more action out of the rudders. But as once I get up into cruise, I'll scoop my seat back 1 or 2 notches and I'll gain a knot.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Well, this is why. This is why it's happening. And if you want
Okay.
to go play with this, it's just boldmethod.com/CFI-tools/CG-effects. They've got all kinds of tools down here for like forces in a turn, forces in a climb, forces in a turns around a point, all that jazz. These are great tools. I have absolutely no affiliation with Bold Method other than the fact that I used them through all of my training.
Well, now that I have it, I'm gonna start looking at it.
Yeah. And again, they've got articles, they've got quizzes. I think the courses you got to pay for, but again, no sponsorship or anything. It's just I use it all the time because I'm not
Well,
going to
I'm
make a
gonna check it
CG
out.
placement tool. They already went through and did it. It's a whole lot of work to make that.
Yeah.
So let's go look at your route real quick. And really, what I want you to do is I want you to talk to me about your route, almost like you're telling somebody about a road trip that we're going to go on.
Okay. So basically what I did was I'm starting out at KBVS. Let me scroll back over here so I can see. Oops, that's the wrong button. So let me scroll back over here. So basically I picked KBVS, which is where I fly out of all the time. And I'm going to what's that? KSLE, which I've never been before, but you said 200 miles, so I just went 200 miles out and found something I thought might have been pretty cool. So I should be at Minville, right? Yeah, McNary, Salem. Yeah, Salem, Oregon. So yeah, so
Mhm.
I picked to go that route, and I've flown not quite. I haven't been down there before, but I've flown the same route quite a few times. And basically, what I did was I'm going to fly through Carburetor and everything, which is a class Charlie. Go through them. I plan on picking up flight following, which they usually they usually keep me all the way up until you get down to the Bravo, and then they'll ask you if you want to be switched over to Seattle, which I decided not to do that this time. Because if I'm going by myself like that, or is what I decided just to go around the Bravo is what I did. So all the way down past Seattle, and then I took all my waypoints up. And if you look at the flight plan, it's got all those different coordinates in there. I don't know
Mhm.
why it wouldn't stick. That's why I think I sent you 2 of them to where I just edited the GPS coordinates and I actually put in the names of my waypoints all the way down to Salem.
Okay.
So, and I decided to like I said, I decided to go around the Bravo, which I could have just kept flight following and it actually would have they've never told me no. Cause I'm always, every other time I've been down there, it's cutting right through the side, but I went around it this time. Sorry if I'm repeating myself. And I just
No,
took it
you're
all the
fine.
way down. I think I did it at 4,500 feet. Yeah, 4,500 feet is where I set it at. And when I did this route, I actually was looking at the winds the day I did it, and I just updated it, and still looks pretty favorable as of today, as of right this instant. So, um, I don't know what else I can go over because it's pretty simple routes, just straight
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
And
I
like
mean,
I
it's
said, the
not
only thing
bad.
I did weird is I avoided the Bravo.
Yeah. And I mean, if you're at 4,500, do you need to make this little jog?
Oh no, I don't. I'm just seeing. I didn't even pay attention to that. That's my fault because I didn't see the Bravo's the bottom layer is 5,000 feet.
Yeah. So I mean that's just my little thing. Like I'd probably like cut this waypoint out entirely. Like I'd probably see what I could do to like maybe go to like this seaplane base. I'm not sure how like visible this seaplane base is. I know
Oh yeah, you can
sometimes,
see it pretty well.
seaplane yeah. Mainly because I'm a little concerned about this airspace right here.
Oh,
What is
Banger.
this?
Yes, that is Banger. So that's a submarine base. That's the restricted area.
Is it restricted?
Oh no, not restricted. It is a what's it
It's a
called?
P.
It's a P.
Pro
Pro, prohibited.
Prohibited, right?
Prohibited
So
area. Sorry.
you were cutting that a little close. I mean, I know you've got these power lines right here as like a
Yep.
nice visual reference. As long as I stay east of these power lines, I'm not going to end up in it.
Yep.
But there's also power lines right here. So like, which one's which kind of
Which
thing.
one?
Yeah.
You can definitely see those. My son is stationed there. So I
Okay.
fly down there all the time. You definitely can see them. So usually, as long as you stay on this side right here, you can't miss them.
Okay. Awesome.
They're
All right.
huge.
Well, you've got a plan, right? You know where that is. Um, let's talk about you recognized the Bravo airspace. I mean the shelves, let's read the shelves. Not the end of the world. I mean, being within 500 feet of a Bravo might be a little tight as a
Yeah,
private pilot, especially if you get a little turbulence, you might punch you up into it. Um, so I could see some reasoning for wanting to avoid that. What airspace is this?
that is a what am I looking at? Okay, so that's Bremerton area. So that airspace is a class Delta.
So the dashed magenta right here. So,
That
looking
is
at this
100% a
airspace,
golf.
is it Gulf?
Yes,
So
golf.
we've got a couple different. We've got controlled, uncontrolled, and special use airspace. What is the only uncontrolled airspace?
Echo and
Is it
Alpha.
Echo? Alpha and Echo are both controlled. It's Gulf that is
Golf
uncontrolled.
is uncontrolled. Sorry.
Golf is uncontrolled. So this airspace is depicting Echo to the surface, right?
Oh yeah,
So
dash magenta.
yep, dash magenta is echo to the surface, and the reason is there's very likely instrument approaches that come into here, and they want to be able to control the air. They want to be able to control the airplanes all the way to the ground,
Okay, so I
right?
gotta make sure I remember that.
Yeah, and I mean, I know it can get a little, because you're probably using ForeFlight for 98% of what you're doing. The problem with ForeFlight is there's no keys, right? You can't
No.
get access to the actual keys. So I mean, if we come over here, we can look and see that if we actually had the chart in front of us, we could just be like, oh yeah, look, Class E
Yeah,
service.
right here.
Yeah, it's right on the chart. So that's what I teach a lot of my students right off the bat. Like, hey, let's use paper charts for a lot of our navigation. Right in the beginning, right? We can eventually shift into ForeFlight because I'm not going to send somebody out into the world where they're going to use ForeFlight, but we never covered like how to use ForeFlight. But there's a lot of really vital information that's on the chart, that's on the actual chart, that's hard to access through ForeFlight.
And you're 100% right. And normally I have the paper. I'm weird, so I still get the paper charts also. They show up whenever literally I'm on auto renewal, and I usually always have it. And you're right, ForeFlight does spoil you because when you go there, it shows exactly what it is right there. And I'm just so used to seeing it. I need to brush up on that
Yeah.
just to be able to visually. I can spot a Bravo in 10 seconds. So
Yeah. The reason I kind of harp on it is like I fly my airplane all over the place all the time, and the amount of times my iPad is overheated, took a shit, forgot to charge it, like yeah,
it just happened to me.
yeah,
I literally forgot to charge it, and I only have a cigarette lighter charger in my plane, and I hate it. So, and didn't bring somebody took my adapter out of there. Long
yeah.
story short, I thought I charged my iPad the night before. It didn't charge. My other iPad was in the back seat. So I was like, you know what? I got the sectional right here. I'll be fine. And I had the GPS, the 430 set up anyway, but still, I just wanted to know exactly where I was at all times. That
Mhm.
430 it's just garbage looking at it. So
Yeah,
much
the
easier on
430
the
is definitely
iPad.
dated.
Yeah. So I
Um,
just took the sectional out and I was like, all right, now I know where I'm at.
yep, and and even replacing the 430, I mean, you're just the box alone, you're going to spend 8 grand to get
It's,
even.
it's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
What airspace are we looking at right here? So we got dashed blue.
So the dash blue is going to be the Delta.
That is going to be the Delta. So what altitude does this airspace go up to and down to?
This goes up to looks like 2,700 feet.
2,700 feet. So I've got a Delta here that's, Tacoma Narrows, TIW. And
Mhm.
then I've got the Olympia Regional. What equipment do I need at Tacoma that I wouldn't necessarily need at Olympia?
So in Tacoma, you definitely got to have a transponder with Mode C, because you got the Mode C valve there. So, I mean, you got to have ADS-B out with Mode C altitude reading
Yep. And
there
then
for
since it's
sure.
Delta, the only other thing is like a two-way radio.
Two-way radio.
Yep. Now, if I'm out here, do I need that Mode C transponder?
No, you do not.
Do not. Now, let's say I live here at Pierce County. What equipment do I need if I have an airplane out of Pierce County?
So out of Pierce County, you are, let's see, you still have the Bravo above, looks like above you. So you do need two-way radio for sure. And what else would you need out of Pierce County?
So is it a two-way radio? Because is this let's ask, is this airport controlled?
No, it is not controlled.
So do I need a radio?
No, you do not need a two-way radio.
Okay, so what do I
But
need?
when you still would need a ADSB in and out, a transponder, right? Because you're in the mode C, you're within the mode CVL.
Yeah, so I would just need a mode C transponder and ADSB out. I don't even need ADSB in.
Just
Nowhere
out.
needs
Yes.
ADSB in. It's just out.
Yeah.
I know it feels weird. You're like,
So
but
even if you're within, so you still would need two-way radio, even though because you're beneath the class Bravo.
yeah, who am I talking to?
Okay, you got to, as long as you stay below 5,000 feet. Okay, all right,
Yeah.
okay.
Ain't nobody to talk to. I mean, sure. Should you have a radio to make traffic calls and all that jazz? Yes. Come on.
Yes.
Especially if you're in an airplane that has, like, if it's got an electrical system because you have a transponder, then yeah, you should like have a radio. But I mean,
You can buy a handheld for $200. So,
yeah, it's all right. Now, what about this airspace here? What am I looking at?
are you talking about where Portland is?
Yeah, Portland.
So, are you talking about the yellow there or the airspace?
The
Completely.
airspace.
So the airspace at Portland is magenta. So if you said magenta, I'm trying to remember what these names are here.
So you
Class
identified
C?
it earlier.
Portland's
Yeah, it's Charlie.
Class C. Class
Yep.
Charlie.
So what can you tell me about Portland just by looking at the chart?
Just by looking at the chart.
Mhm.
Let's see here. It says no SVFRs at Portland. Let's see here. The longest runway is 11,000 feet.
What could be
CTAF.
what would you expect traffic pattern to be here at Portland?
See 3-1 left traffic pattern 11,000 feet. Left at 3-1 is a left traffic pattern.
So is this 3-1 a runway?
Yes.
Let's take a look here. Because every runway standard traffic pattern is what?
Left hand.
Yeah, so why would I put that on the chart?
Shoot. So this one's got right hand traffic pattern. You're right.
Does it? So this airport right here has right pattern, right?
That
2
one
and
does,
3-1,
yes.
right? So this 3-1, what is this 3-1? Because we can see we got 3-9 here. We've got 174 there, 208 here. So what is this? What is this 3-1?
I have to look that up. Okay. Field elevation. Why am I not doing that? So yeah, your field elevation is 310 feet.
It's 31 feet.
31 feet. Sorry.
Yeah, it's 31 feet. This one's 39 feet. So what
39
could we
feet.
estimate that the traffic pattern altitude would be?
1,000.
About 1,000 feet, right? What is this no SF or SV?
No special VFR.
Okay, so what is special VFR?
So let's say if I'm taking off right here from right now, right, and the weather's down to minimums. Let's say if it's got if it's got 2 statute miles of visibility, but if I'm flying back to, let's say, BVS and 10 miles out, it's 10 statute miles of visibility. So I can request a special VFR so I can get flight, so they can vector me out to clear weather so I can get out of there and I'm not stuck there.
Can you do this at night?
No, not unless you're a private pilot. I mean, instrument rated, and the
Not
plane
unless
is
you're
instrument
instrument
rated.
rated. All right, solid. What are we looking at right here?
That is a wildlife area.
Yep, wildlife area. Is there any restrictions, as in if you were to fly, is there any restrictions like, hey, we'd be breaking the law or breaking a federal aviation regulation?
No, but they
Associated?
request that it's a request. They request that you stay at least 2,000 feet MSL above any wildlife reservation.
AGL.
AGL, sorry.
Yep.
Did I say
2,000
MSL?
feet
AGL. AGL.
Unless otherwise charted, right? Because if we come up
Correct.
here, right, we can see like the Apostle Islands Lakeshore is a perfect example of a wildlife area that has a restriction.
It says landing and operating aircraft on the eyes of water within 50 feet. Oh, okay. So they don't
Yeah.
want you there at all. Seaplanes.
Yeah, they don't want. There used to be an albatross that would come here and piss everyone off.
The big bad boy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, freaking 1,900 horsepower, a radial engine at 6 o'clock in
yeah.
the morning is kind of a. I mean,
Trust me,
I think it's cool.
It's 5 a.m. We got the F-18s out here going nuts.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Let's go look at some weather real quick just to see where you're at. Aviationweather.go. Well, I guess let me ask. Based on the weather that you got, would you take this flight today?
Let me refresh my memory what the weather was. Let's look.
I mean, we can look it up real
Mm,
quick. So we're departing BVS. All right.
BVS. Yep.
So this is the weather currently at BVS. Does this seem like a good VFR day?
10 statute miles visibility scattered at 9. Overcast 13. No, not at all.
No, not at
Mm,
all.
not at all.
So where would you look to maybe get an outlook or get like an idea what the weather would be in the future? What airport might be a decent place to look for a forecast?
What airport?
Yeah, because like we don't have a you don't have a TAF here, right?
No, I
At
don't.
BVS, there's
So
no
I
TAF.
would go to SEA should have one.
All right,
It did not pull up. Oh, there it is.
there it is. So is it going to get better?
Let's see, 2208 statute miles. So 6 statute miles of visibility scattered at 20, scattered at 35, broken at 30, broken at 20, overcast at 15. No, it's not getting better.
That seems like it's actually getting worse.
Yeah, it's getting worse. It's not good.
No, no.
Today's
All
not a
right,
good day to go fly.
no. So what am I looking at on this chart? Like, what information am I discerning from this chart?
Isn't this a prognostic chart?
Yeah,
Pro-
prognostic chart, surface analysis, what some people
Surface
call it. Yeah,
analysis, that's the name of it.
yeah.
Yeah, surface analysis chart. But right here, it looks like you got a lot of stuff going on. High pressure, low pressure. Those are your fronts. The coming through. And all the way
Okay,
up north.
so
What is the green? Trying to
oh,
remember
the
what
green
that
is
is.
weather. Here, we'll turn it off.
Okay. All right. So
So
yeah,
let's take a look at this. What is being depicted right here by this blue line?
that is a squall line. Can't be a squall line. Squall lines are usually
So they come in two colors, blue and red.
so those are fronts.
Yeah. So what kind of front is this?
That is a cold front.
It's a cold front. So what kind of weather might I expect from a cold front?
Cold front's usually going to be um actually pretty nice flying weather. Stable. Usually stable weather.
All right. So let's go and we're going to look at some Microsoft Paint real quick. And we're going to talk about a cold front. So
Okay.
let's say we've just got a nice little warm air mass just hanging out, doing its little thing, right?
Okay.
People down here on the beach smiling. Yeah, well, whatever. We're not going to draw people. And then I get this cold front, or well, let's still talk about the warm front. We've got little bits of water, a little bit of moisture. We're looking at like 60% humidity, right? We'll
Okay.
call that 60% humidity. And then we get a cold front that comes through, and a cold front's moving kind of quick, and it's shaped almost like a wedge, and it starts pushing this warm front up. Now, if I start getting a big old air mass getting pushed up that is warm and moist, what do you think is going to happen to all this moisture?
It's going to turn into a storm.
Well, yeah.
So that's how you usually get thunderstorms. Usually.
So if I've got a cold front moving through,
Oh yeah. Yeah. So if you got a cold front moving through, it's pushing the warm air up, which uh, which creates
some weather, right? So we can
correct.
see all these cold fronts that have moved through here recently.
Uh,
We could see this cold front moved through here, dropped off a bunch of rain behind it. This one's kind of coming through. These ones are stationary. So we get two air masses that are kind of fighting each other, dropping off a lot of rain down there. Does that make sense?
that makes a lot of sense. Okay.
Have you, here's a good one right here, right? We got this nice cold front that's bringing a lot of rain with it. We can see it's even got some red stuff in there. Pretty heavy
Okay.
storms.
So when it's red and blue like that, that's usually a stationary front, correct?
Yeah, so it's a stationary front. So I would just say, like, have you heard of the Aviation Weather Handbook?
Yes. Yes.
I would just dig through the Aviation Weather Handbook, just have that kind of be. If I remember, the Aviation Weather Handbook should be on Spotify as a podcast.
It is.
Yeah. So I would definitely crack that open or listen to it, get a little bit more comfortable with Aviation Weather Handbook, especially prog charts, because prog charts tell you a lot, right? The TAF could be like, oh yeah, it's going to be fine. But then you look at the prog chart, you're like, oh yeah, it's going to be fine until like 2 hours after the TAF expires, where it's going to be absolute garbage, according to the prog chart. Right. Because the prog chart is telling me a whole lot bigger of a picture. I know the prog chart that we were looking at right here. Here, we'll go back to it. There was a lot going on, a lot of different fronts. Maybe I could have found a simpler one. But let's take a look at your area right now. We can see a lot of low pressure moving in, or low pressure
Yeah.
hanging out. Low pressure, sure, it's going to be stable. It's going to be static. But we end up with a lot more moisture condensation. We end up with a lot more kind of continuous fog, low visibility, rain, stuff like that. But we also have this cold front that's coming in. So let's see what it does. That cold front completely died off. You get another
Yeah,
low
before it came through.
trough that actually ends up in here. So seems like for a while you're going to be under some low pressure. Looks like by 0 Zulu on the second, you're going to have a high pressure that moves in. That's probably going to clear out most of that low visibility. So you see how without looking at a
Yeah.
TAF, without looking at METARs, I was able to say by the second we could probably fly,
But see, that's good to know. I definitely need to.
right? And I mean, even I'm looking at right here, for me, I'm seeing this cold front moving through. So by the second, it's gonna be it might be a little rough, and then we're gonna have this stationary front, so we're probably gonna have some crappy weather hanging out for a while. Now I'm not too sure because I've got this big high pressure down here that seems to be pushing a lot of that weather up. So we can see how that high pressure, we got this cold front right here. Now, if I go another 12 hours, we can see that high pressure almost pushed that cold front up. How it's almost squeezing it and keeping it up in the northern Michigan and Canada.
Okay.
You see how I'm
This is a okay. I'm gonna play with this Aviation
right.
Weather Center.
So maybe by the second, I could probably fly somewhere south, but I'm definitely not flying anywhere north.
You're not going north.
Right. And this is without looking at TAFs. This is without looking at METARs, PIREPs, or anything like that. This is just the prog chart. Prog chart might seem intimidating, but there's a lot going on here. I could see now another, on the third, that stationary front and low pressures moving a little bit more towards me. And then we get some warm front coming through. So maybe by the fifth, like the fourth and the fifth might not be a half bad day because we got a little bit of warm weather coming in. But oh crap, there's another big old cold front right behind it. The
Right
fifth
here.
and the
Yeah.
sixth, it's going to be crap,
Okay.
right?
This-
So we were
I'm
able to
gonna do
just,
that.
yeah, it's a great tool. We were able to discern all that information and try and the best way to put it is try and plan my week, right? If I'm trying to go fly with some buddies or I'm trying to, I got places to be, I know that I could probably get off the ground on the second and get pretty far south if I needed to go south.
Yeah.
But it's showing me that I'm going to need to move pretty dang quick on that day because there's going to be there's going to be another cold front moving through. And I'm going to need to get south of Nashville if I want to get past all this weather.
Yeah. That's actually very helpful.
Yeah.
Very helpful.
That lets me plan stuff out. And of course, things change. Don't let that plan based on the prog chart, get you stuck in that little bit of get there-itis. Like, oh, well, I planned this, so I'm going to do it. Right. So sorry, my
No, you're
cat is
fine.
playing. Um, but I would say biggest bits would just be a lot more practice, right? We were able to pull a lot of the answers out, right? Through working through them and talking about them. So like the knowledge is there. I would just try to get a bit more practice, like just talking about it. Because your check
Yeah.
ride isn't, can I regurgitate answers? Your check ride is a conversation about the plan and the weather that you brought,
Correct.
right?
Okay.
So think of it less as like a test and more about think of it more like you're trying to convince your buddy who's nervous that you are actually competent.
I definitely need to remember that because I'm so focused on trying to make sure I know all the stuff. Sad part is I do know majority of it, but I just spitting it out is the hard part,
Yeah. And that's
it's
the thing.
just
It's like
takes practice.
if you got a buddy that's nervous, like do you think they'd want to go fly today? I mean, obviously
No,
with the weather,
absolutely
no.
not. They wouldn't get out. I wouldn't even ask them today anyway,
Yeah.
but they wouldn't want to go if that was the case also.
Yeah. Um
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
so if you've got the knowledge, just practice verbalizing it, right? And I would definitely get a little bit more practice with aviationweather.gov. It's a great tool. It's a
Yep.
great resource. And read the aviation weather handbook. When it came to stalls and aerodynamics, again, like we eventually got to the answer, but just try to get a little bit more practice actually verbalizing the answers,
Yeah.
right? What I would say is like write some flashcards, but don't put any answers on them,
Yeah. That makes
right?
sense.
It's because like you can write flashcards and put the answers on it and like think what you wrote on the back of the card real easy, right? But if you don't put answer on it, you're like, okay, well, what is a stall? All right, let me talk about these. Another great way to kind of get the words that you're looking for is read a section of the Pilot's Handbook of Aeronautical Knowledge, like whether it be a chapter, whether it be a single paragraph, whether it be a single page. Read a section that's digestible to you, and then put it in your own words.
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Because again, you read it, you understood it, your reading comprehension might be there, but let's see if we can I hate to say regurgitate the information, but let's say if we can explain what we just read
Someone else.
to someone else, right?
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, that's what you got to do to pass your check ride.
You're right. You're 100% right. And I'm glad I did this. I was been wanting to do it. I've watched a couple of your shows, not a lot of them, but I'm going to start watching more of them because, like I told you, I'm always busy. So, but
Uh,
yeah,
believe me, I feel that.
I guarantee you're busier than I am. So, yeah.
Um, but yeah, man, I'd say we're probably 70% of the way there, right?
Okay.
Crack open those books, and we're aiming for perfection, but nobody's ever perfect. What's the phrase? Practice makes progress,
Correct. Correct.
right? So get on some practice, and I think you'll be squared away. You knew your airplane, which is a lot more than what a lot of students can say, right? Because they're like, "Well, this is a school's airplane. I'm not going to put the effort in to learn the school's airplane." It's like, well, you got to convince me that like
You're comfortable.
you are gonna go read the book and learn the airplane when it is your airplane,
True. That is true.
right? So the fact that, I mean, I don't know what you spent on this, but I'm a Cherokee Archer 2, I think they go anywhere from 80 to 120 nowadays. So
Hmm.
I'm assuming you spent in that price range. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got a really good deal on it. That was the other reason why I bought it. Funny thing is, I bought the dang on thing and I couldn't even fly. So
yeah,
and they had no medical. And then they wanted to come out with basic med. Why? I'm
yeah,
like, why didn't this happen sooner?
yep, yep.
So, anyways,
Mhm.
yeah, I bought the thing. I got a really good deal on it. Had to put some money into it to make it right. I had to get the 430 fixed. I had to get the 155 fixed.
Mhm.
It was out of annual, so I had to pay for a ferry flight. So it was it was a great investment in my part. You know, I mean, then the prices of these things skyrocketed, so I even benefited even more. So,
Mhm.
so yeah, I love the plane. I eventually will get something that's got a little bit more modern. I don't care about the modern. I shouldn't say that, but a little bit more useful load, a little bit more power. Because as you can see, we got mountains and stuff out here. If I
Mhm.
want to fly to Spokane and leave from here, I got to do circles before I can even go out there, or fly all
Yeah.
the way down south and keep climbing until I can get over the 9,500-foot mountain. You know what I mean? So I'm
Yeah.
gonna get
I mean,
something with a little bit more power. So
a Dakota is a pretty solid
yep.
upgrade.
Hmm.
I'm assuming, or like if you really want to upgrade, like a Turbo Lance.
Correct.
I don't know.
I've been looking at those. Short story. I know we're done right now, but I'll tell you what happened. So I actually, when I first started doing this, I bought a Sling TSI to be built.
Okay.
And yeah, and long story short, I fell out of saying I'm not even gonna fly. I'm done. It's been 8 months and I can't get my medical. I just don't want to do this anymore. And the price of planes once again skyrocketed. So the guy that was gonna help me build it and everything, he said, "Dude, you want to sell this thing?" It's just been sitting at his hangar, just sitting there. And every time it's my turn to start building it, I
Yeah.
said, "Dude, just hold off, just hold off." He said, "Do you want to sell this thing?" I says, "Why?" He says, "They just raised the price like 30 grand." He says, "And you have one sitting here."
Yeah.
I said, "Sell it."
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? So I made 25 grand off of that. And so which made me say, okay, maybe I should still fly. And
Yeah.
I waited, and this plane and then Sierra popped up and I'm like, there's my deal.
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy this thing and I'm gonna go fly it. So
Mhm.
that's what happened. And I knew the plane had been sitting for a long time. It was out of another flight school. The flight school sold to a different flight school and they didn't want to do lease backs anymore. So the guy that owned the plane, he hasn't been able to fly in like 10 years. So he didn't want nothing to do with the plane. Well,
Yeah.
think about it. It's been sitting in that flight school for the last 4 years. The guy's probably made plenty of money off this plane. So the broker says, the guy is not going to sell the plane if it's not this number right here. I said, but what do I got to do to put in an offer? I'm in the car business for Christ's sakes.
Mhm.
I said, how about I offer him 60 grand?
Yeah.
He goes, I'm not even going to waste my time. I says, but you told me you have to put in an offer if I give you one. He
Yeah.
said, yep. He says, put the money in escrow. I put it in there. The guy waited to the last 30 seconds. I swear to God it was. He says, you must have a lucky charm in your back pocket. I said, why'd you say that? He said, he took your deal.
Yeah.
I said, no way. So I didn't think he was going to take it. I says, okay, what do I do now? I've never bought a plane.
And The
So
fact that you had a broker, like, I know I make the joke that, like, the best way to save 15% or more on a airplane purchase is not hire a broker, but it's a joke.
no, you're right.
But,
You're
like, what
right.
you gain from having, because I used a broker for my airplane too, and I mean, like, it's like when my temp expired, the temporary registration expired, I was like, "I
Yeah.
don't know what to do." I
Yep.
emailed my broker, I was like, "Hey, I got 3 days left on the temp." They were like, "I got you." 3 minutes later, they sent me another one. And I'm like,
Yeah,
I
it was great.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I called him. I called Evan. I said, Evan, he's, because he was brokering that plane. And I says, well, do I need to hire somebody? He goes, no, I'll just handle all of it. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, perfect.
I mean,
So I
that's
went
why
and
they
got
get
the
their
pre-buy
money.
done. Yeah, done. He hooked me up with a guy to do my pre-buy that was already at Everett Airport. He was already there.
Mm,
And the guy, I went down there. I met him there, and he walked me around the plane. He did everything. He did his pre-buy. He took me up on a flight to his what's that thing called? So 114. Forgot the name of the Commander. Is it Commander?
okay.
Yeah, that plane. It's pretty cool. I mean, both doors open, bigger interior than my plane. Freaking nice plane. He took me up in it, and yeah, he did the pre-buy. He says, "Dude, this is all that you found. I found wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with this plane."
Yeah.
He says, "But you already knew the garment needed to be fixed." I says, "Yeah,
Mhm.
that's not a problem." So yeah, I got a pretty good deal on it. And then one of the flight instructors ferried it over from Everett to Cascade, and yeah, I've been loving it ever since.
Yeah, I mean,
Students are
once you
flying
find a
it
good
like
plane,
crazy. So yeah,
yeah,
I'm happy with it. So it's
that is
getting me through.
exciting.
It's getting me through. I'll get through this, and I'm gonna schedule another time with you again after I do a lot of studying.
All right. Now, I mean, I do get pretty busy around Oshkosh because, like, I mean, I don't know if you've seen my airplane, but like, it's got,
Oh
people
yeah, I
want to
love
see
it.
it, and I'm part of the show. I signed up for the race to Oshkosh and whatnot. Believe it or not,
Oh,
I think I'm
nice.
actually competing against a Cherokee.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm, that's sweet.
But it's kind of funny because I'm slower, not that much slower, like 2 or 3 knots slower. But no, it's a so it'll be at Oshkosh. I don't know what your plans are, but I get pretty busy during that month because I mean I'm still working full time and
Yeah.
doing these and there's a couple bits of maintenance that I still got to get done on the airplane. A couple little features that need to be ready for the show. Um,
Oh yeah, I like it. I
so
like it.
but yeah, man, about 70% of the way there. I don't know if you made your way into the Discord. Did you end up making your way in there?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. So I mean the Discord, that's usually, if anybody's got any questions or anything they want to go over, as they're studying, don't hesitate to reach out in there. There is 18 flight instructors in here now other than me. So there's plenty of people in there with plenty of knowledge. So if you've got questions as you're going through your studying, trying to, clean up any of these gaps that we got, don't hesitate to reach out.
Absolutely, my friend. Hey, I love what you're doing, man. I appreciate you a lot. This helps me a lot.
I'm glad. I'm glad. Well, you enjoy the rest of your day, man.
All right, my friend. Talk to you soon.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.